Hello guys, we've got a video here from WatchMojo today. These are the top 10 notorious quarter-devouring arcade machines, apparently. I know a little bit about this topic, so let's discuss.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 notorious quarter-devouring arcade games. Here, we'll be looking at the lengthy history of arcade games, in search of those that were specifically designed to get as many of your quarters as possible.
Right,
We're not
yes.
focusing on the quality of these games as a whole,
Capitalism.
as several are otherwise really good games. Rather, we're focusing on the cheap difficulty, ease of messing up, the possibility of needing multiple playthroughs, and other money-motivated design choices.
Sure. So let me think what I would think would be on here. I think Dragon's Lair would probably be on here. I think Smash TV would probably be on here off the top of my head. You saw the picture before from Double Dragon 3, the Rosetta Stone. That had a really cheap pay-to-win system where you'd actually spend your real money in the in-game shop to get equipment and things like that. There's some off the top of my head.
Number 10, Metamorphic Force.
Oh, brilliant!
Metamorphic Force.
This one is absolutely genius, and I'm going to tell you why. This is one of the most fun 90s beat-em-ups you could ever possibly play. It's kind of like an Altered Beast Greek mythology style game done right, okay? You've got this big Greek fantasy set out. You can take a human, mutate into a different beast, and go ham sandwich on a bunch of mythological monsters. It's fantastic. Where the game catches you is instead of paying for a credit and getting a bunch of lives, the more money you put in, the more health you get. And once you've done that, the experience is smooth, really fun to play. You almost forget how much the machine actually bled of your money. And so you almost don't even realize the machine is robbing you, because this game is absolutely fantastic, so much fun, but then it's like, gotcha.
It's the little details that end up making the difference here. As one of Konami's last arcade beat-em-ups, Metamorphic Force definitely stands out, especially with its focus on up to 4 warriors battling the forces of the undead. However, it sports a bizarre feature in the US incarnation, health that decreases by 1 point per 10 seconds, regardless of any other damage the player takes, or lack thereof.
Oh, I didn't know that. So maybe I was playing the world version. I just know you had to put in money to keep getting, to fill up your health. I didn't realize it would reduce. Imagine that. Imagine putting a credit into the arcade machine, and then your health goes down by itself. Oh my gosh. I don't think you'd be able to get away with doing something like that in this day and age. It's terrible, robbing kids!
Game items or by spending real-world tokens. It's a subtle element, but no less fixated on arcade goers' money.
Holy shit, that's so bad!
Number 9, Initial D Arcade Stage Series.
What was wrong with this one? Great music, great racing, what's wrong with
Race to
this?
your heart's content, as long as you got the quarters. Initial D Arcade Stage, released in 2001, mixed the fun of competitive racing with role-playing elements.
Yeah, I love Tokyo Extreme Racer,
Used a
same
card system
stuff.
to save one's progress, only needing to be renewed every 50 plays. That's all well and good, except you had to spend a credit per race.
Yeah, games are cheap like that now to this day, like whether you're playing something like Mario Kart Arcade or Maximum Tune, I think it's called, things like that. You put in a credit, and you get 1 race per credit, which lasts all of probably, 2 to 3 minutes. Very, very soon, you get hooked on the game, because these games are very fun. All of a sudden, you spend $30 in 1 hour. It's pretty freaking crazy. And how these machines catch you is they give you these cards now, so you can use it to swipe and save your progress and continue on. And in order to actually beat the games, you spend hundreds of dollars literally to get to the end. You should at least get some kind of ticket or something for it, so you can at least get a candy bar or something. But yeah, brutal. I didn't realize that whole pay-to-play model started all the way back in the early 2000s. It's still happening now.
When a player keeps up with their racing habits, the number of credits spent really adds up.
Yeah. Jeez, yeah. It's worse now. I think it's worse now.
Number 8, Smash
Oh.
TV. While certainly beloved, this classic run-and-gun game isn't without its questionable design. Set in a game show studio that players must traverse while shooting hordes of enemies, Smash TV is remembered for its visually distinct setting and intense action.
I don't think the levels themselves are that bad. So essentially how Smash TV's set up, it's based loosely on Running Man, right? So you've got this violent game show and you have to survive a room with big onslaught of enemies and all that. Collecting toasters, oh my god, the abundance of toasters as prizes in this game. But anyway, surviving the room's hard, but not that bad. What was really bad about Smash TV was the bullet sponge bosses. It just felt like they all took like 10,000 bullets each in order to kill. I'm not even exaggerating. You'd be spending all your credits just to try and defeat the bosses. If you're playing in single player mode, forget about it. It's going to take a million times on. It was just completely unpleasant. And the only reason I haven't played Smash TV more is I could keep churning in credits and playing the game. But, I mean, you know, sometimes a game and the bosses and everything are hard enough without having to have the bosses take 1 bazillion hits. I mean, today we actually did a playthrough of Double Dragon 2. I'm not going to digress too much, the arcade game. And we got up to that, like, Shadow Boss or Shadow Bimmy, whatever, at the end. I felt like I had to hit him, like, over 100 times in order to kill him today. And it's just... by design, that's dreadful. I think you're overestimating the patience of the player.
To be overwhelmed and be forced to retry. Movement was deliberately designed to be relatively slow, which was at odds with the fast-paced combat.
Yeah.
Add to that the endless onslaught of enemies, and you have a game that's built to claim your quarters.
The boss is the worst. This subbitch.
Number 7.
All right.
Mortal Kombat.
Well, I don't know too much about why they think this is a quarter muncher. Just, you know, I know for a fact that it was proven that Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, and a few other fighting games had mechanisms that would input, read, and cheat to steal your money. If they're going to mention that, then yeah, that's kind of like a well-known fact. But I don't know if there's something else that maybe I'm not aware of. I guess we'll find out.
Similar to its counterpart Street Fighter 2, this fighting game had more than a few cheap elements in its design. Mortal Kombat, known for its one-on-one tournament-style battles and gruesome fatalities, definitely presented gamers with a challenge, sometimes by limiting their abilities.
Really?
For example, player-controlled characters can't use a standing block to resist a sweep kick, but AI-controlled characters can.
I think my brother Mr. Headlock Gaming actually mentioned this on a stream before. So yeah, imagine that. It's not even a level playing field. You're already fighting against a cheap CPU computer opponent, right? And you don't even have the same move set than what the computer does. I mean, what a bunch of crap that is.
Similar design decisions favoring the AI ensured cheap deaths, meaning players had to spend many quarters to learn the ropes and beat the game.
It's just like if you had like a gladiator combat and like Russell Crowe was sent to the gladiator arena with like a wooden sword, and then he had to take on like a bunch of freaking other gladiators that all had big long spears or so. You get the idea. It's just not doing very good with the analogies today.
Number 6, Rampage.
All right. Well, I mean, to be fair, I never wanted to continue this game. See, the thing with games like Rampage is they have a really fun, addictive game loop, but it just gets, what's the word, monotonous too quickly. Because let's be honest, smashing buildings is fun, eating people is fun, causing absolute chaos is fun. But when you're just doing the same thing over and over constantly, and the game doesn't really change its coat of paint, so to speak, and that's the secret of a good beat-em-up, quick levels, different bosses, different environments. But, you know, there was something like Rampage, a single-screen game where you just keep advancing levels and it just always looks the same. I mean, this was never going to steal my money because I would just get bored before it had a chance to, I guess. But, alright.
For all the fun of being a kaiju, there's also frustration to be found. Such is the case with developer Midway Games' Rampage, a 1-to-3 player arcade game about controlling giant monsters and, well, you know, going on a rampage.
That's why it's called Rampage. I mean, it sells itself, right?
The issue comes with how much resistance the monsters face. Countless things in the game are designed to cause damage, from enemy bullets to dynamite and explosive shells, to even attacks from other monsters.
Yeah, I kind of always felt this game was sort of broken between, like, the tanks firing shots, helicopters firing shots, things being thrown out the window and everything. I just don't know how it's even possible to be able to avoid, even if you had the biggest level of patience, you constantly jump from one building to another and all that, I still don't even think you'd be able to avoid everything. So, yeah, I kind of always thought it was broken in that department, but being this was, like, right in the middle of the 80s, I mean, you could get away with making games like that still.
As engaging as it is, Rampage doesn't lack for ways to test one's patience and endurance.
I don't really think it's any skill in this. I mean, maybe a little tiny bit, but it's all about the money.
Ghosts and Goblins.
Now, this is interesting, because this game is notoriously difficult, and for the average gamer, it's going to steal a lot of money. And if the game doesn't beat you, then the really unfair limited time limit that you will have on certain levels will beat you as well. Especially that notorious second level where you have to run up the building and avoid all the goblins and have enough time to get to the boss at the end. It's pretty savage. With that being said, there are a good handful of really talented Ghosts and Goblins players there that can just beat the game regardless. One cheap element that would steal the players' coins as well was at least the NES version would convince you that you'd beaten the game, and then it was an illusion to have to do another loop all over again. I think that was in the arcade version as well.
Hang in there,
but it's a bit of a mess.
This iconic platformer, starring the noble knight Arthur on a quest to save Princess Prin Prin from Satan, is fondly remembered for its challenge and overall quality. Yet, it possesses a gameplay mechanic that could be seen as questionable. A live system based around a timer.
Yeah, that's kind of nonsense, especially when you need the time to be careful and patient to avoid
Basically,
enemies.
For each level that Arthur traverses, a timer counts down.
Yeah.
When it reaches 0, the player instantly loses a life. As much as we enjoy challenging games, this seems a bit excessive.
Yeah, and you know, some other games probably did it a little bit more fair, like Wonder Boy, for example. You'd have to go through the level and collect the fruit, because your health bar actually added as a time limit, but the more fruit you collect, the more time health you'd get, if that makes sense. I don't know if there's any way to get extra time in Ghosts and Goblins. I don't think there is a power-up that gives you more. A lot of games have, and this one certainly didn't from memory. Congratulations, this story is happy end.
Number 4, Sinistar.
Oh, dude. So, yeah, I love Sinistar. This is the one where you have this big mothership that you need to mine pellets and basically blow it up with these, like, bombs you mine from, like, rocks and things like that. And it talks, I hunger, run, coward. It's epic. And I remember I originally played this in the arcade when I was a kid, but I forgot how hard it was. But when you get the Williams collection, you can adjust the difficulty, and it's actually a lot of fun. But I recently tried to play the arcade original of this not too long ago as a request, and I couldn't even beat one level. I thought it was absolutely nuts. Couldn't even find a dip switch to change the difficulty like most arcade games either.
In the realm of Twitch games, there is something of a legend, with a bit of infamy to boot. Sinistar has a simple enough premise. You are the pilot of a fighter ship, attempting to collect minerals in order to build bombs in the fight against the titular skull-like creature Sinistar.
Yeah. Look at that. How brutal is it? Pretty spooky, pretty creepy.
Though the game is known for its difficulty, it's the climactic appearance of Sinistar that seals it. Sinistar flies in at such an angle that it's nearly impossible to dodge, resulting in instant death, and the need to spend more quarters to try again.
Well, I always struggle trying to mine the rocks without avoiding enemy gunfire. Like, you don't even get given like a 2-3 second grace period just to mine rocks and build up on those pellets, if that makes sense. You got all those turrets coming up to you and like, boom, you're dead. So Sinister was kind of the least of my problems personally, but yeah, it is a very hard game.
Number 3,
Yeah.
Dragon's Lair.
A fantasy adventure where you become a valiant knight on a quest to rescue the fair princess from the clutches of an evil dragon.
As one of the first FMV games, naturally this sets a lot of standards, including the nature of the difficulty. Dragon's Lair follows Dirk the Daring, a knight venturing into a dragon's castle to rescue Princess Daphne. The game proper had players following on-screen commands and hitting buttons in a timely manner to keep Dirk from succumbing to perilous traps. However, much of the game is based around trial and error, requiring repeated playthroughs to attain victory.
Yeah, trial and error, and also like really fast reaction time, and also overcoming your own instinctual, I guess you could say, malfunctions, if that makes sense. Because, you know, when you're caught in the heat of the moment, the adrenaline is running, it's very easy to press the wrong direction or the wrong button, right? So this game plays with your mind on so many different levels. and it's going to cost you another token each time you want to give it another crack. So yeah, it's brutal. I got this on the Switch now, so I don't really have that problem anymore. Pretty good collection.
Number 2, Gauntlet.
Oh, dude. I mean, look. Yeah, I mean, this is always going to be a quarter muncher. One of the earliest games where when you add the quarter, you get the extra health and everything. I think... Oh, actually, I can't remember if it adds health or if you just have to keep inserting quarters to get more health. I think if you're playing with a team, it's a little less brutal. You know, a lot of team games, whether it's a beat-em-up or a dungeon crawler like this, you can kind of have a little element of strategy. Like, for example, one of your friends can distract a mob of enemies while you go blow up its little hive or base or whatever you want to call it. So it might be a little less brutal if you're playing as a team. But if you're playing something like this on your own, good luck, because there's not really an element of strategy you can use, and you're just going to take a big influx of monsters no matter what you do, because I think this is designed more for team play. Hence where they probably got most of their money from the solo players that didn't realize that. But okay.
Being restricted to how long you can play a game isn't fun. So why should that be part of a game's overall design? Yes, the classic dungeon crawl game, Gauntlet, in which up to 4 players venture through increasingly difficult monster-filled mazes, has a time restriction built into the gameplay.
Really?
Players' health bars automatically drain of their own accord.
Yeah, that's right, they do
regardless
too.
of any damage caused by foes. Thus, an artificial limit on one's play session exists.
But to be fair, I think their health pickups, or their health recovery items, at least in this game, are plentiful anyway. At least I thought they were pretty generous. But as I said, the problem is if you're playing on your own, you're definitely going to lose a lot more health than you recover. So, not as brutal as other games, I don't think, in that department, to be fair.
Those players not able to keep feeding the game tokens. Before we get to our top pick, here are
Oh, yeah. The only reason I don't stream Crime Fighters more often is because of how brutal the difficulty is. Probably one of the harder beat-em-ups I've ever played. And Vendetta, the sequel to this, not much easier. There were a couple little exploits in Crime Fighters here that you could do, like collecting the gun. If you could stay away from the enemies, you could use the gun the whole level with unlimited bullets. I mean, that was pretty handy if you could actually get one. But yeah, man, what a savage beat-em-up that was. Oh, that was brutal. It frustrates me so much. The only reason I don't play it more often, but the music is dope. Konami goodness. Narc. Yeah, Narc is brutal. I think what they did with Narc before the ESB is brilliant. It's like one of those early live action games, and it's filled with like hookers, junkies, blow, cash, criminals, heaps of violence, and just trusting the source material alone. I think the people that made Narc assume, oh yeah, everyone's going to spend their money because this is like shock value, right? And then boom, all of a sudden you spent $10, $20 and basically barely made it 2 levels in. It really is brutal. Crazy. X-Men. I've always thought X-Men is cheap. I'm usually using 20 to 30 lives to beat X-Men, the arcade game. A lot of better beat-em-ups than X-Men. What they basically did was make a little bit of a clunky mess of a game on purpose, I think. Again, relying on the Marvel Alliance. License. Because everyone knows all kids like superheroes, right? And so they're going to spend their money regardless. I thought as a game itself, it was just very mediocre and clunky, to be honest, although Nighthawk is somewhat fun to use. But, you know, it's still awesome because it's X-Men, right? So you're literally manipulating kids. But I always thought I prefer to play Metamorphic Force in this one, to be honest. Simpsons, prefer Simpsons.
Number 1, Double Dragon 3.
Yeah, this is cheap.
Double Dragon 3, the Rosetta Stone.
In the realm of quarter-devouring arcade games, this might be the most blatant. We certainly thought so. The arcade version of Double Dragon 3 returns the franchise to certain conventions, such as the punch-and-kick combat of the original game.
It's so clunky. It's not even fun.
It also saw quite the fascinating inclusion, an item shop.
You know, I've got this on the PC. I think .mu's one of .mu's earliest collections was a Double Dragon trilogy on Steam, and I think it also got a mobile release. And so What it bewilders me is they haven't really even fixed any of the issues on the arcade version on the Steam version, and it's still got the same problem, apart from actually having to spend your real money, to be fair, but...
Stocked with items like power-ups and new moves.
Yeah,
Players
it's
could
so
enhance
cheap.
their characters to their heart's content, for real-world money. At 1 coin per item, this design decision highlighted a very real and very questionable interest in taking the player's cash. Worse still, because the game's difficulty ramps up quickly, if you don't spend money to upgrade your character, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, you're gonna go straight to hell, man. And already by this point, 1990, you're probably spending 2 to 3 quarters to play a game already at this point. And it's a freaking hard game as it is, and then making the player spend extra money just to get extra power-ups or weapons, things like that, maybe bonus health. I mean, forget about it. I'm glad this ended up being a dud. You just can't treat the consumer like that, hey. Anyway, this was an interesting list. Thank you very much, WatchMojo. Let me know what money-devouring arcade machines you remember in your youth. Appreciate you watching, guys. Give WatchMojo and myself a sub. And we'll see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.